In the last session, we have discussed about the speed control methods for DC shunt motors. In this session, we'll discuss about the speed control methods for DC series motors. So, the first one is the field diverter method. Observe here, a field diverter is connected, a resistance is connected in parallel to the field, so that the current entering into the field as well as armature is diverted to this resistance. Based on this current diversion in the field, the speed is controlled. So the flux produced by the winding depends upon the MMF. So MMF is magnetic motive force, which is the product of number of turns as well as current. This MMF is a cause for the production of the flux. So the flux can be changed either by changing the number of turns or by changing the current in the field by adding a resistance. So let us study the various methods based on this principle. The first one is the flux control. In the flux control, there is a method, field diverter method. As I said, in this method, when the RX is connected, that means resistance is connected in parallel to the series field resistance or series field. Due to this parallel path, by adjusting the value of the resistance Rx, any amount of the current that is diverted through this resistance, that is diverted. Hence, the current through the field winding can be adjusted. When the current through the field winding is adjusted as per the requirement, then the flux gets controlled. When the flux gets controlled, then the speed of the motor gets controlled. You see, because of the resistance, I is diverted, then IF is adjusted, then flux is controlled, and speed is controlled. Here we will get the speed more than the rated speed. Why? Because we can reduce the current flowing through this field winding so that the field current is reduced. When the field current is reduced, then the flux is reduced, therefore speed is increased. If you observe these characteristics, this is without resistance. These are the characteristics corresponding to decrease in the resistance. That means as the resistance is decreased, that means if you move the wiper in this direction, if the resistance is decreased, more current is diverted through this resistance, therefore less current flows through the field winding, therefore less flux and more speed. If you observe, for a current of armature current of IA, which is nothing but IL, without resistance the speed is this much, with resistance the speed is increased, when the resistance decreases, speed is further increased. So we can get the speeds more than the rated speed. Coming to the armature diverter method, this method, resistance is connected in parallel to the armature. So this method is used for the requirement of the constant load torque. Observe, the armature of the motor is shunted with external variable resistance Rx. So when Rx is introduced, the current IA is diverted like this. So then the armature current is reduced. That means whatever the current IL is flowing through the field, that is diverted through this resistance, and the current flowing through the armature is reduced. When the current flowing through the armature is reduced, as we have requirement of the constant load torque, because T is proportional to phi into IA, as the IA is reduced, phi to be increased, flux to be increased. So when the flux is increased, then what happens? The motor reacts by drawing more current from the supply. When the motor reacts to draw more current from the supply, then more field current, therefore the flux is increased. IF is increased, therefore flux is increased. When the flux is increased, the speed is decreased. Therefore, we will get the speeds less than the rated speed with this armature diverter method. When the wiper is in this position, the armature current is maximum, armature current is minimum, because more current is diverted in this direction. When the resistance moved in this position, downward direction, then the more resistance is involved. Therefore, more armature current is flowing in this direction, less armature current is flowing in this direction. This is the way the armature current can be controlled. So next, tapped field method. In this method, the flux change is achieved by changing the number of turns. In the previous two methods we have seen the current, variable current. Now we are observing variable number of turns, because MMF is a product of N into I. Either by varying the number of turns or by varying the current, we can get the variable flux, variable speed. In this method, we are observing variable number of turns. So the field winding is provided with taps. Selector switch S is provided to select the number of taps as per the requirement. Suppose when the switch is at the position 1, the entire field winding is in the circuit and the motor runs at normal speed. As the switch is moved to position 2, position 3, position 4 like this, then the number of turns of the field winding in the circuit reduces. As the number of turns reduces, the MMF required to produce the flux will be reduced. When the flux is reduced, then what happens? The speed of the motor increased above the rated value. So this method is used in the electric traction. If you see, the number of turns decreases, MMF decreases, flux decreases, therefore speeds more than the rated speed can be obtained. The previous method, speeds less than the rated speeds are obtained. Speeds in this method, speeds more than rated speeds can be obtained. Let us see the series parallel connection of the field. Here, the field coil is divided into various parts. These parts can be either connected in series or connected in parallel. So, for the same torque, if the field coil is arranged in series or parallel, the MMF produced by the coil changes. When MMF changes, the flux will be changed. Therefore, speed can be controlled. That you can observe here. Suppose if the connection is in parallel grouping, then the MMF reduces. Hence, we'll get higher speeds. This method is generally used in case of fan motors. Let's see the second method, rheostatic control. So in this method, the variable resistance is inserted in series with the motor circuit. As the resistance is inserted, the voltage drop across this resistance occurs. So when there is a voltage drop across the RX, the voltage across the armature reduces. So when this wiper is at this position, the voltage drop across this RX is less. Therefore, more voltage is applied across the armature. When this wiper is moved in the downward direction, more voltage drop across the RX. Therefore, less voltage across the armature. Therefore, the speed is less. So you can observe here from this graph, without RX, with RX. Without RX, then the voltage across the armature is more. Therefore, the speed is more. With RX, the voltage across the armature is less. Therefore, speed is less. That's what is explained in a simple way. N proportional to VA, RX increases, VA decreases, N decreases. The third method, armature voltage control method. In this method, the voltage across the armature can be varied. by this connection, by a series generator as shown. Here the generator is driven by a prime mover. The voltage obtained from the generator is controlled by field diverter resistance connected across the series field winding. It controls by variable resistance. The flux in the generator field is varied. When the flux is varied, the voltage generated will be varied. That means the voltage applied to the motor will be changed because it is connected to the motor. You can see as easy proportional to phi, flux change is achieved, gives the variable voltage at the output terminals. Output of the generator will be varied. Due to the change in the supply voltage, various speeds of the DC series motor can be obtained. You see, when there is an RX, there is a resistance, generator voltage changes, voltage output, generator voltage changes, then the supply voltage changes and is varied. So all the advantages and disadvantages of various methods discussed as applied to shunt motor are equally applicable to speed control of the series motor. Next, Ward-Leonard system of the speed control. It is developed in 1891. When it is desired to have wide and very sensitive speed control, this system is more generally used. Observe here, motor M1 is the main motor whose speed is controlled. The field winding of the motor is permanently connected to the DC supply, whereas the armature is supplied with a variable voltage so that the motor can run at a desired speed. How to get the variable supply? It is output of the generator. So the output of the generator is varied by varying its field current. Vary the field current of the generator, flux will be varied, speed changes, therefore generator output changes. For this case, we have a provision of variable resistance here. So to provide this variable voltage, motor generator set is used. It consists of either AC or DC motor directly coupled to a generator. This motor runs at approximately constant speed. So output of the generator is fed to the motor M1. The field circuit is supplied or excited separately from an available DC source, a reversing switch, and a potential divider, so that its excitation can be varied aside from 0 to maximum in both the directions. Generator output voltage will be varied from 0 to maximum. Reversing this switch, that means by reversing the direction of the field current of G with the help of the reversing switch, the polarity of the generator is varied. Generator output voltage is varied. When the polarity is reversed, the direction of the motor also will be reversed. If this generator is supplied with another motor, is driven with another motor whose field circuit is connected to the constant supply. So as this method can give unlimited speed control in either directions, the system is commonly employed in elevators, hoists, and main drive in steel mills. This system is ideal in applications where frequent starting, stopping, reversals are required. As the generator voltage can be raised gradually from 0, because we can vary this generator output voltage from 0 to maximum, motor starts up smoothly without any extra starting equipment. Although this system is advantageous because it requires extra machines, so it involves some capital cost. So in modern days, instead of this motor generator set, we are going to have SCRs. These SCRs will take a power supply from the transformers that produce DC supply that is given to motor. So it is less expensive. The arrangement is neat and free from the maintenance problems. It will give automatic control of the speed. The modified Ward Leonard system, flywheel is used in addition to the motor generator set. What is the purpose of flywheel? It is used to reduce the fluctuation in the power demand from the supply. Suppose whenever there is a load on the main motor is reduced, then what happens? The motor M1, that means the load is suddenly reduced on the motor M1. The motor M2 set speeds up, which allows energies to store in the flywheel. Suppose if the load on the motor M1 is increased, then the driving motor M2 from the motor generator set slows down. Thus, the inertia of the flywheel is used to supply part of the varied load. So, in that way, the flywheel reduces the fluctuations in the power demand from the supply. So, let us see some problems on this series motor speed control. So, the general steps what you have followed in the shunt motor, let us discuss briefly once again. The first thing is identify the method of the speed control. Use the torque equation T is proportional to phi Ia to determine the new armature current according to condition of the torque given. And use the speed equation N is equal to Eb by phi to obtain the unknown back EMF or field current. From the term calculated above, using voltage current relationship of the motor, the value of the extra resistance to be added can be determined. These steps will vary, depends upon the nature of the problems and type of the speed control. Let's see the first problem on this. A 250 volts DC series motor takes 30 amperes when running at 800 RPM. Calculate the speed at which the motor run. The field winding is shunted by a resistance equal to field winding resistance, and the load torque is increased by 50%. Armature resistance is given as 0.15 and field resistance is given as 0.1 ohms. Assume the flux produced is proportional to the field. So for this, there are two cases. We have to find out the speed in the second case when the resistance is inserted. So the voltage given is 250 volts, armature resistance 0.15 ohms, RSC is 0.1 ohms. So in the first case, the speed is given as 800 RPM. Therefore, I1, which is the supply current, which is equal to IA1, which is equal to series field current ISC1, which is 30 amperes. So the flux is proportional to the series field current. Using the torque relationship, T is proportional to phi Ia. So that is proportional to ISC into Ia here. Therefore, T1 by T2 is equal to ISC1 by IS2 into Ia1 by Ia2. So they have given load torque is increased by 50%. That means T2 is equal to 1.5 times T1. We know the current divider rule, where total current IT is divided into I1, I2 in R1, R2. Then I1 is equal to IT into R2 by R1 plus R2. I2 is equal to IT into R1 by R1 plus R2. You can use this relationship for this circuit to calculate the currents in the field as well as Rx. So this IT is divided into ISC2 and another current is flowing through Rx. Therefore, I2 is equal to Ia2. What is ISC2? Using current divider rule, the total current Ia2 into opposite resistance Rx by Rx plus Rsg. Ia2 into 0.1 by 0.1 plus 0.1, they have given both are same. Therefore, ISC2 we got a relationship 0.5 Ia2. Substituting these values, the previous equation, T1 by 1.5 T1 is equal to, this is ISC2, which is 0.5 Ia2, this is ISC1 into Ia1 by Ia2. Therefore, we get IA2 square is equal to 2700. IA2 51.9615 amperes. We know that ISCT is equal to 0.5 IA2. From that, you can calculate 25.9807 amperes. You calculate EB1, V minus IA1 RA, ISC1 RSC for the first equation, first circuit. It is 242.5 volts. EB2 is equal to V minus IA2 RA minus ISC2 RSC. So substituting these values, we will get the value EB2 as 239.607 volts. Therefore, using the speed equation N is proportional to EB by 5. N1 by N2 is equal to EB1 by EB2 into ISC2 by ISC1. Substituting N1 800, EB1, EB2 values, ISC2, ISC1 values, we will get N2 is equal to 912.744 RPM. So N1 is 800 RPM, N2 is 912.744 RPM. It is more than N1. Let us see the other problem. A DC series motor runs at 500 RPM and 220 volt supply, drawing a current of 50 amperes. The total resistance of the machine is 0.15 ohms. Calculate the value of the extra resistance to be inserted in series with the motor. We reduce the speed to 300 RPM. The load torque being half of the previous value. Assume flux proportional to current. Here you can see they are giving the torque relationship. They are asking to find out the speed. They are giving the flux, how it is proportional to current. So this method is rheostatic control. Definitely will get the speed less than the rated speed. So for the first circuit, V220, total resistance RSC, RE plus RSC is 0.15 ohms, RA. In first case, the speed is 500 RPM. Therefore, the total current I1 is equal to IA1 is equal to 50 amperes. Torque relationship T2 is equal to 0.5 T1. We know for the series field current, it's same as the armature current here. T is proportional to ISC, which is proportional to IA. Therefore, torque is proportional to A square. Therefore, T1 by T2 is equal to IA1 by IA2 whole square. So, using the torque relationship, T1 by 0.5 T1 is equal to IA1 by IA2 whole square. From that, you can calculate IA2 as 35.355 amperes. Therefore, EB1 is equal to V minus IA1 RA plus RSC. Substitute all these values, you will get 212.5 volts. Calculate EB2, V minus IA2 into RA plus RSC plus extra resistance RX. So here we don't know the RX value, but the speed required given as 300 RPM. Therefore, using this relationship N1 by N2 is equal to V1 by EB2 into IA2 by IA1. Substitute N1 N2 500 300. EB1 12.5, EB2 you write this expression, IA2 IA1 you write. Then from this simplification you will get RX equal to 3.8225 ohms. So like this you can solve any problem if you know the relationships of torque, back EMF and speed with back EMF and currents, and the torque relationship. If they are given, you can solve any type of problem. Thank you. In the next session, we will discuss about the testing of the DC motors.